Good morning, episode 9 of Scott and Sam in the AM. Wherever you're listening or watching, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to all of our channels. We're on Scott and Sam Real Estate everywhere you consume social media: Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Scott and Sam RE on X, for anyone who uses X, formerly known as Twitter. Episode 9. This week, Scott, I want to talk about our social media journey because while it has been brief, I'm having a lot of fun, and I see a lot of potential. You're the one who really started this for us. Tell everyone listening, why'd you want to get into social media, and then now that we've had a little bit of success with it, how you see it going down the road.
Well, social media is like the all-encompassing job that doesn't pay you very well, at least in the beginning, because you never stop thinking about it. You're always trying to think of how to make better posts. And I get yelled at a lot while I'm in the kitchen editing a video while my wife is waiting for dinner. So it is one of those things where I like it. I enjoy it. It's fun to get the feedback and get all of the, honestly, all the DMs and the comments and all that stuff. Like, people are definitely watching. It's pretty crazy, but it's a lot of work. It's like,
For sure.
It's a lot of work, and it consumes you, but you don't want to spend too much time on it because, it as of right now, it's not leading to actual dollars, which is an interesting thing. But yeah, obviously, I personally got into it and wanted to get into it because I feel like, one, like what we're doing is pretty cool. It's fun. Like I enjoy it. I'm sure other people will enjoy it. Two, it also really, it's not rocket science what we're doing. Like, if people just realize they can go out and do it themselves, it's a pretty powerful thing, because once you control your own financial destiny, so to speak, it frees a lot of people up. I have a lot of friends who are very smart, and they just don't like what they do. I'm not saying real estate's for everybody, but there's definitely a handful of them that could be making a living doing that instead of sitting at their 9-to-5s.
For sure. We've said this for a long time. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. Two very different things. Everything that we know can be learned. I've heard Grant Cardone say that a million times. It's so true. We didn't go to school for this. You studied business. I studied economics. We went to a small liberal arts school. And the best way to learn is just through experience, and we're giving ourselves a lot of fast experience. The number one feedback that I get from people who I talk to or I associate with in and out of real estate is, I can't believe how active you guys are, from the flips to the RV park to the laundromat to the RIP and everything in between. How active you guys are. To be honest, we're just as active as we need to be to make a living. The way we do it is so backwards. Most people make money and then invest in real estate. We invest in real estate to make money. Now, would I advise someone to go and do that straight out of college? No. But like you said, it's a lot of fun. We learn so much. I feel like every year we look back on the previous year, we're just like, well, we're not doing that anymore. And it's a whole new layer of real estate that I'm sure we're going to crack another layer, hopefully in the next 6 to 8 months. And all the while, knock on wood, so long as you get to provide a good living for your family and do it while you learn a ton and, knock on wood, build some wealth and have a great time doing it, it beats working. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of social media, to give everyone... Go ahead.
I was saying, you say it a lot that our business is backwards. Like, we invest in real estate to make a living. If you really think about it, we're not actually investing in shit. The only things that we're investing are the actual things that we are keeping long term, like the RV park, some strip malls, some small multifamilies that we first got started with. Those are considered investing. But for the most part, we're wholesaling and flipping properties. It's not investing, right? You're spending money just like a business would spend money on advertising dollars. They spend every $10 they spend, they get 20 back. And it's the same thing that we do in terms of buying and flipping houses or flipping contracts. We spend money on marketing, we get contracts, and we sell them. We spend money on flips, we fix them up, and we sell it. Like, it's all the same shit. Like, you can plug and play it. It's just real estate happens to be our game, but, it's certainly not the I wouldn't say it's backwards. It's just it requires a lot of upfront capital. Like, that's what people like. They talk about like doing it without money, but if you want to do it at scale, like, it requires money. Like, even if you're borrowing money, it requires money because you have to pay for it first, then
For sure.
Get reimbursed.
For sure. To give everyone an idea, Scott started doing social media because honestly, it was just something he always talked about doing. As long as I've known him, he has talked about wanting to do social media. And then we had a conversation over the holidays where I was just like, hey, like, if you're cool with me jumping on the page, we can brand it. And if I mess up the timing, you can correct me as you usually do. But essentially I said, hey, we'll make it Scott and Sam Real Estate, and I'll commit to posting on there every day in 2026. And I start doing that, then he starts posting every day, and we just make super raw, organic content, just giving people a very inside look on what we're doing and what we're thinking, what we're succeeding with, what we're struggling with. And you go from, I think the last week of December, we hit 1,000 followers. We hit 8,000 followers the first week of May. Our whole goal was just, if we could hit 10,000 followers by the end of the year, we'd be hyped. Now, I'd like to hit 20,000. But the thing that really blows my brain is the amount of messages that we'll get from people around the world, like Spain, a lot of people in Canada, all across the U.S. I never understood the reach of social media, and now that's what has my gears turning going forward.
Yeah, it's infinite, especially when you come from a business that's so localized. Like, real estate is very localized, and, to be able to do things across the country behind a laptop is pretty incredible. But I would tell you, it's definitely like a learning curve to try to figure out how to actually make it a business. That's the hardest part, at least for us. I know a lot of people have successfully done it, but, it's definitely a learning curve to be able to do this stuff and do it well, shit. And it's not like you can get your hands on it like you can a piece of real estate.
Yeah, to give everyone an idea, as of right now, we don't have any outside firms that we're working with. We have Catherine in our office who helps produce a lot of our content. But for the most part, pretty much everything you see on social media is just us picking up the phone, doing the editing and the posting and such ourselves. And I would really like to get into more longer form content. I've said this to Scott a million times. I think YouTube in the next 10, 15 years is just going to replace television as we know it. And having a channel on there with a presence as soon as we can is really valuable. And I'm a huge believer in live streaming. I haven't figured out how to make that engaging in terms of what we do. Unless you want to sit around and watch me cold call all day, which could be cool. But I don't know how much we could record of that. But live streaming and YouTube.
Dude, online, people record all this shit. I feel like you could.
Yeah.
Like, you're not.
You probably could.
Maybe not live stream, because then you can't bleep out their names or their addresses. But you could definitely put it on long form, YouTube stuff. Like an hour and a half of just like recording, watching you cold call. Why don't you do that? That'd be sick.
Yeah, I should. Do people have a second phone that they're recording this on? This is software?
We're recording on a camera right now on Riverside. Just do that exact thing.
So you just set it up and call on speakerphone?
Yeah.
All right.
And just use the mic. Put the phone into the mic, and you talk into both.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what the kid does who does the lowballing the homeowners on Zillow. You seen that guy with the mustache?
Oh,
Young
dude,
guy?
He's a dick for sure. But he's pretty savvy in terms of like what he knows. So like he's quick with it too. And like he doesn't stutter, and he's like quick into like just drilling down on people's like why this doesn't make sense, especially realtors, bro. He's like, he really gives it to agents, and God bless him, man. He gets a lot of views, respect. I like his content, to be honest.
Yeah, I see this all the time. Yeah, I think he does a lot of sub 2 stuff, but I see a lot of content coming up in our feed now around less and less about like wholesaling innovations, a lot more about flipping and realtors. I guess is just what we're gearing toward more in our algorithm. But it can be really difficult to deal with realtors as an investor or as a wholesaler. There's a lot of negative connotations around it. And the older I've gotten, a little bit more experience I've gotten, I was actually thinking about this last night. I don't necessarily think that realtors are intentionally trying to be difficult or get in the way of doing deals. I just think most of them, 99% of them, have never actually have ever invested in any real estate or ever done any sort of creative deal or flipped a house or anything like that. So it's just very easy for them to shit on it, for lack of better words, and create a roadblock as opposed to a conduit.
Well, it's easy,
I'm trying to bridge that.
It's easy to like feel like you're protecting your client by like downplaying someone else and like their suggestions because it's not like something that you thought of or like you brought to the table. So like that, I think a lot of people are doing that. They're like, one, they think they're wasting their time because they don't know it, right? And then two, like they think they're protecting their client. So like which is a good intention, but it ultimately kills deals. Like people do that all the time. They're not pro deal. They're not trying to get the deal done. They're just trying to be right. You know, like they just want to be right. And if they're right, they feel good about themselves regardless if the deal gets done. And I see that all the time with agents. Like I just had a deal actually with an agent who was actually not like that at all. And he took the side of his client, but the further we talked about it, he was like, he understood my side. I was like, look, my side doesn't matter to you. I understand that, but like, let's try to all put our sides together. And he did, and he came up with a great solution and he got it done. You know, it's like some agents are cool with that. And some agents just want to like, I think that just comes down to personality. You know, like some people just don't want to be wrong.
For sure. To get people understanding, I think there's a very weird connotation around realtors, and realtors range the gamut. There's a lot of realtors who play in lower end areas selling $150,000, $200,000 houses, and then there's realtors who won't touch anything less than $2-3 million and sell $100 million a year. Across the board, though, I think what people need to understand is I think realtors are a really good resource for a lot of people because most people are not knowledgeable around what they're signing up for, if they're buying a property, what they're responsible for, what their options are. And I think in that sense, it's a really good tool. That being said, the barrier to entry to become a realtor is nothing substantial. It's, taking a test that is, I'd say a stone's throw harder than the DMV test. And I think I've had this argument with other people in the past before of, do they become obsolete and do they just get replaced by attorneys in the future with, remote lockboxes and transaction managers in between? I don't know, but I don't
think so.
I think it's also important for people to know, like, if you're selling a luxury home or buying a luxury home, I don't think who you work with as your realtor is really going to make a huge difference in like the kind of deal you get. And obviously a top end realtor would argue me through the gills because that's their job. I think the difference between the person who sells $200,000 a year and $20 million a year is just that the $20 million a year person is a killer salesman or woman. And they know how to get 1 million leads and 1 million listings and 1 million referrals. I don't think they necessarily are an expert in real estate as opposed to the lower end producer.
Oh, I disagree with that for sure. I
really
disagree with that. Have you dealt with like some high end agents? I feel like you have. Like
I just did on the deal that we.
Yeah, and I would say that person's a professional. No, I feel like they definitely know the game. I don't know. I mean,
she's a professional, just like any other realtor that we work with on a $300,000 house are professionals. They have they pass the same test.
There's nothing else. Yeah, but there's nothing else to learn past a certain point, right? So like you got to understand like real estate, obviously, understand problem solving, I guess. But I think where agents really differentiate themselves, and you're saying like 3 to 5 million plus that level of agent,
luxury producing
like
agents,
like that is like a walking into the Ritz-Carlton and being greeted by the staff at the Ritz-Carlton versus walking to the Holiday Inn. And when you walk into the Ritz-Carlton, you expect a level of service, right? Like from the types of cars that they drive you around in to go see houses, to the things that are at the houses when you get there, to the types of places that you go out to dinner with your agent to discuss the homes. Like all of these things, that's what I think the high-end, I don't know, I'm not a high-end realtor, so like I have no idea.
Sure,
but like
sure.
That's what I would be focused on. And every high-end agent I've ever known of or met, that's where they hang out. That's the type of service that they give to their clients. And it's just like, and they also know, they know their niche like the back of their hand. Like that's.
But that was my argument was, I don't think they necessarily know real estate more than someone who slings $250,000 houses.
Oh, like, but you were saying a low producing agent.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Like like someone
this
who
guy's
sells
gonna let me
only
get away with
200
anything, guys.
No, but
Someone
I thought
who
you meant
sells
someone who does
$250,000 to $300,000 houses for a living versus someone who sells
$2
$2 to $3 million a year.
It's the same shit. It's the same shit for sure.
Yeah.
For if you sell 100 of each, or whatever, or you sell the same amount of volume, and like dollars, yes, they all understand real estate. I guess there's nuance at the higher level in terms of like loans and stuff like that, but like what qualifies for what. But
as someone who's an investor, has experienced all the realms of owner financing, wholesaling, novating, flipping, you name it. How do you, just from the outset, how do you look at realtors as a whole?
I just think it's like a mixed bag. I just like, one, don't be disrespectful. Like you don't know. I don't come out and say like, look, lady, like I've bought a ton of homes. Mm-hmm. I own a ton of real estate. Like I never say that. I'm just some low producing agent when I deal with, because I'm not doing a lot of volume. So like sometimes people are super friendly, and then sometimes people are they want to just say that they know better, and I'll just wear it. Like, okay, well, unfortunately, it is what it is. But I don't know. I think
I would say if you're looking for a realtor to work with and you want to invest in real estate, try to find people that are active on multiple properties in whatever area you're looking to invest in, and just call them, be super transparent with them on what you're looking to do, what you have to invest, and just ask that they keep you, on their list or on mind. And you're going to get one of two responses. Most people inherently will be like, all right, great. Like, send me your information, and you'll probably never hear from them, but send me your information. The other ones will say, oh, I already have an investor I work with. I cold called the realtor last week asking to be added to his buyers list for more flips for us this summer. And his response was, it was actually a she. Her response was, I don't deal in those type of properties. I'm like, oh, well, I saw you sold this house here, which is in the same neighborhood that I flip a bunch of houses. Yeah, that was a one-off. I don't deal with properties like that. I sell high-end luxury real estate. Okay. You can get rundown houses in high-end luxury areas. It happens all the time. But most people inherently want to do business. You also should remember most realtors, this is just a fact, don't kill me for this, most realtors inherently do not crush it. More realtors than not. I don't have the stats, but I could just tell you from working with them over the years, most realtors struggle, really struggle, because there's a few that crush it in markets, both luxury and economy, whatever you want to call it. And then everyone else relies on friends and families and something their broker gives them or whatever. But it's very, very hard to be in that top 1% producing agent where you're making how many agents do you know that make six figures a year? It's not many. Not many. So if someone gives you attitude or they say they don't have anything for you, they might just not have anything. I wouldn't take it personally. You got to cast a really wide net. There's so many realtors out there. So many.
Yeah, they might just be having a really good year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But there are some people who crush it. I look at, you can see a lot of the statistics on homes.com. If you just type in a realtor's name followed by homes.com in Google, it pulls the statistics of the deals they've done in the last 1, 3, and 5 years. Mm-hmm. It's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. Some volume, some people do. I don't even know how they handle that kind of volume.
Teams.
Teams.
Most of them
Some
have
people know how to
teams.
scale, believe it or not.
Most of them have teams. Well, I mean,
So
the other part of scaling is you just need to stick to the same thing and be willing to do that for a long, long time, which is not our strength.
we are the kings of pivoting, usually in a good way. You should watch that video I just sent you on DM. You would like it. So we talked about why we got into social media, kind of, how we experienced a little bit of success with it. And I kind of want to put a bow on it with where we kind of want to take it. So we have our school community right now. I think as of today, we have 31 people in our school community. We meet every Wednesday at 5:30 Eastern. If you're not already a part, join. It's $10 a month right now. And that's great. And it's a lot of fun. We've met some great people through it. A lot of people just like us across the country, everyone from wholesalers to wannabe investors to actual investors and high-end investors. We need to figure out kind of how do we take it a little bit more and throw some more fuel on this fire so we can actually make a little bit of money. And it makes sense for us to spend all this time on social media. And we have some ideas.
Buy our course.
Yeah, we're going to have courses already around the Burr method, around wholesaling, coaching sessions on both that span over a month that Scott and I directly will be coaching on. Scott and I have spent thousands of dollars before on coaching courses and gotten nothing for it. And then you join the actual course and it's a totally different guy than the one who sold you the course.
Yeah, but we've
that
also,
will not be us.
We've also paid for programs that have gotten us a lot of value, which is another part of it, right? Like not all coaching programs are created equal, is our point. But there is a lot of value that someone can bring you. Like if you're willing. You
seem to really enjoy the coaching. When I hear you getting into it on Wednesday nights, you seem very natural at it.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, it's what we do. We talk about every day, and sometimes we take it for granted, but it's very. I don't know, man. I find it to be helpful especially when you see someone's face like light up. They're like, "Oh shit, I didn't think about that."
Mm-hmm.
That's like always a pretty cool feeling.
For sure. And there's so many people doing it. There's so many deals out there. So many people making money. We had a guy in our group last week was breaking down to everyone how he made $40,000 on a wholesale deal last month.
Yeah.
So much money. One deal.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like wholesaling is like I suggest everybody just if you are looking to make more money, like you're not happy with how much money you have and make. Like I suggest it to everybody, just understand and start with wholesaling. Like you don't need to do it forever, but if you do it the right way, like you can turn $5,000 of marketing into $50,000. Like that's very possible. You can do 2 deals with $5,000 and make 50. Like if you can take that money and you can go put it into something and start up an actual business, whether you go into flipping or burrs or whatever the case may be, like it's like one of the best businesses I think for anyone to get started who doesn't really have much else going on. Like if you have a successful business, you don't need to do that. But
how feasible do you think it is for people to try to get into wholesaling or just getting good deals without money? We just wholesaled a property that actually was on the market. In theory, anyone could have got that.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need money. Like, you can absolutely do it. Your hit rate's going to be lower and your profit margin is going to be lower, like period. Like the deal that we wholesale on the market, we made like $10,000. Like great, $10,000, $9,000, whatever it was. But it's like, okay, cool. But if you're going to try to find the best deals where you actually make 25, 35, 45,000, you can't get it where everybody else is looking. Because it just invariably will get bid up. Like, if that's not your game, like if you want to just do smaller deals, way less money up front, go ahead. Like, try to make the deal work and make $9,000. But if you want to just invest a little bit, I'm not saying a lot. Like, that's why, like, our wholesaling methodology is like a bootstrapped wholesale. Like, you can scale it, but you can also bootstrap it in a brand new market, and within 3 months, you can have a couple deals that are ready to close with probably less than $5,000 out of your pocket. So you just need to know what you're doing. Like that's where we come in.
Yeah, and as you get more experience and you have more lending relationships and a little bit of more money in your pocket and such, it just becomes that much more valuable. You know, there's so many deals that if we didn't have the money to close on them, buy them, we would just have to let them die on the vine. They're good deals. They're just not necessarily wholesale deals, or we don't have the buyer for it, or whatever. But like Scott said, I think wholesaling is a great way to get started. It is not easy. It's a lot of work, a lot of hard work. You can do a ton of work and make $0. You can do a little work and make a lot of dollars. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting a little bit of luck. But a lot of it just comes down to understanding how to work with people, how to negotiate with people, and how to actually close. And if you get a good deal, you're going to be able to sell it. Whether you put it in Facebook, that kid in our group who made 40 grand, I think he just put it in Facebook, he said. I don't know if I've ever sold a deal that way, but people do that all the time.
He was in the groups just networking, and then because of that, he found a guy who he knew bought in that area. So it's all free. He's in there just, hey, like I got this deal, and people are reaching out. He's saving the contacts, talking to them. Where do you buy this, that, and the other thing? You missed out on this deal, and he just took it directly to the guy, and the guy was like, "I'll drive past it, I'll take it." He didn't have to show it. You know,
yeah.
I mean,
you can also buy all this stuff for a matter of a couple $100. You can get a lot of cash buyers list now. That information has become so accessible and so affordable. We talk a lot about that in our school community. If that interests you, you should join. But I think the thing that really stood out to me was he's 23 years old. This guy makes what probably the average 23-year-old is making in a year off one deal. Now, obviously, it wasn't all profit, but I bet you 60% of it was. And to guys like me and Scott now who are more hands-off with the wholesaling and more focused on the investing side of it, building relationships with a guy like that and a million other guys like that is gold. Because I would so much rather I'm so much more likely to buy a good deal from a wholesaler than on the MLS. Because if something's on the market, everyone else is seeing it too. I heard a really good saying last week that everything you see on the market on Zillow, Redfin, Crexi, and LoopNet is just the leftovers for what the actual investors didn't want when the brokers brought it to them before it hit the market, which I actually think is very true, especially in commercial and multifamily real estate. Maybe not in single family.
Yeah, commercial multifamily for sure. I don't think going back to real estate agents, I don't think a lot of them are that connected
networked
or savvy to even go to do that. And also it's incentive. Like, show me the incentive and you'll see what someone's willing to do for it. No one's willing to go out and pre-shop a $90,000 house. Like, they're just not. Like, they're going to go call 20 people. I would do that for a $9 million strip center, though. You know, like, because you know you're making a ton of money. So, like, you might double side that thing. So it's like, you know, slap that baby on the market. You know, like this. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's deals on the market, man. People, like, we have how many flips we have now from the market? 3,
2 or 3, yeah, 3.
Yeah. So like,
dude, you know what? You know what we need to talk about?
What?
I think land is the goddamn play. My God.
Yeah.
My God. How valuable is land?
What do you want to do with it?
I want to make money on it. You know, any which way that it makes the most sense.
See, guys, this is what I'm dealing with.
To give people an idea, we bought a property that was on the market that anyone could have bought. That was on a double wide lot. We paid less than $2,000 to have it subdivided, put it out for sale for $35,000, and had a contract on it 48 hours later. We have another lot that we own a house on that we're renovating the house, and that's a little bit more to subdivide, but the lot's worth 3 times as much. Or you could build a house that's worth $500,000, you know, give or take. And then I read all about these guys who were buying rundown fourplexes and then knocking them down and replacing it with, 8 units or brand new fourplexes and things like that. And I understand
fuck yeah.
Yeah, I understand the upside. Also, like as someone who is now managing more construction than he's ever managed his entire life, and I managed construction for a living in my first year out of college. When you're renovating an existing structure, there are so many nuances. You're dealing with, I don't know, half a dozen, especially up here in the Northeast. Most of these houses or properties were built 100, 150 years ago. And you're dealing with people have probably done full renovations on it half a dozen times since it was built. So your wiring's from the 50s and the HVAC's from the 80s and and the foundation is original and all this stuff. You do new construction, you don't have to worry about any of that. It all just flows together. That was my other idea. Should we start getting layouts done on AI for all of our flips?
Not for our flips. I think we should just bag all the flips and move to new construction and just start building houses. You see, guys, this is why we can't scale, because we go from one thing to the next, and then we figure out like why there's something else that's better. It's called the grass is always greener. This is actually true, because the grass is probably turf, and it is.
Yep.
And
you
it's going to
turn
be turf
around
in the
and go
backyard of our $1.5 million new construction build.
But to give people who are listening still an idea, I love you, Mom. But the shout out Rob, follow Rob Sells Miami.
There's going to be some day when you're going to say that, and it's actually going to be people still listening.
Well, until then, it's just going to be my mom
Today's the
texting
day.
me every week saying, yes, I was still listening.
Is that true?
Every week, yeah. What did you say?
Really?
You said something about her. You said something about her last week, and she heard it.
Bullshit.
I forget what you said.
I didn't.
I love you,
I
Mommy.
didn't care.
All right, so the whole point that he's saying is we can't scale because we continually pivot. We continually pivot because we see all of these little opportunities as we go throughout our day. To give you an example, we were wholesaling houses, 16 months ago. And this guy, every time we got a sub-2 deal, was like, yeah, I'll take it. Sure enough, Scott just starts talking to the guy one day. He's like, man, why do you always buy these sub-2 deals? He goes, because I turn around, I sell them on owner financing, and I make money on the interest. And he calls me. He's like, you won't believe what this guy does. And we're doing the math on it, and we're like, this guy's a genius. So then we take that idea, and then we're doing that on a house, and then we're doing it on an RV, and then you do the RV park, and you learn how to borrow money, and now we're borrowing money over here, and then taking this over here, and then we buy a house on twice the amount of land, and we cut it in the middle, and it just continues to snowball. We're always doing something that seems like a better and smarter investment than the last.
Yeah,
and it all starts at its core with getting deals. But I already know if you held a gun to my head and said, what are you guys doing in 640 days from now? It's not at all what we're doing right now. I don't know what it is. But
hopefully we're still podcasting.
I think we'll still be podcasting. I think we'll still be on social media. It's still going to be it's all within real estate. It's just the method in which we do it and how we make money and our strategy. That's the best way to say it. And when you do that and you're constantly pivoting your strategy, it's hard for the people, I'm very conscious of this, it's hard for the people who work for you to keep up and to provide as much value as they can.
Maybe we should start marketing to some vacant land. Lots. Say singular lots. Or properties on larger lots. But I actually like the idea of
Does the size matter or the zoning matter?
Well, the size matters because then you could split it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my idea. But because no, I like the idea of just buying the lots. Lots are easier to do a lot with.
Or do you just buy lists with houses on them or properties on them that are over a certain size, and you're just naturally going to get splittable lots, like the two we just did?
You're saying the land?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just make the size of the land a criteria. Obviously, you're going to get some ranches on there, but
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Like, just get bigger lots where you could subdivide it. But then you got to deal with the house. Then the value of the house comes into play. Like, the value of the land is such an easy thing to value, right? Like, like it's like you just work backwards. Like if there's no land comps, then we could just work off of new construction comps. And then it's also a much easier thing to get deals on because land is worth much differently than what a home is worth to somebody.
That's boy's tired, all right? He's got a kid at home.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense here?
Land is valued differently.
It's not that it's valued differently. It's that it's worth less or worth – it's a lot of times it's not worth as much to somebody as a home would actually be, right? Because it's not bringing them any sort of value other than just
I see. From the seller's perspective, you're saying, yes.
Yes, from the seller's perspective. So, like, it's much easier to get a deal on that. And, like, now if you can change – like, if you could change the entitlements on, like, in the zoning and stuff like that, that just goes a whole nother level of increasing the value. But I wouldn't be opposed to going after some land. Here and there, honestly. I would do it here. Just depends where, but.
There's plenty of land there. Can I interest you in a lot in the zip code 70126?
Yes. Just depends where it is.
No.
I can wholesale it.
All right. We'll change gears. So I just want to give everyone an update. A couple weeks ago, about a month ago, I became a father for the second time, had a second child, beautiful baby girl, who is fast on the track to being a Division I athlete at 23 inches and almost 10 pounds at birth.
I thought she was over 10 pounds.
Was she? No. Let's continue on. No one's listening at this point.
I've been telling everybody that she's bigger. I was 10 pounds at birth, and like that was like a kind of a milestone. I've been telling everybody that she's been bigger. That's what I thought you told me.
I'm going into the coffee shops. Hey,
yeah, I'm just Sam? I can believe my boy's son. I mean, daughter.
You mean daughter. It's 2026. My point is, for 9 months, you think about, we're going to have another baby. We're going to have another baby. And to give everyone perspective, my son is almost 2.5. You get home from the hospital, and you're like, the baby is nothing. I forgot I have a 2.5-year-old here. Except now, you get waken up 4 times at night, and then he's still ready to roll at 6:50 the next morning and wants to play tackle football as the sun's coming up. I swear it's much more tiring than the first go-around, personally.
Yeah, because now you have 2. For you to say the baby's nothing, I feel like Allie would be like slap you in the face for you saying that. Like, she's doing everything. So you're like, yeah, for you, you're not getting up 4 times a night.
She sent me a video. Well, I get woken up.
Oh my God, dude.
She sent me a video that it said the first baby rocks the mom's world, the second baby rocks the dad's world, but I think it's pretty accurate. Speaking of which, you should really have another kid soon. I think it'd be a good thing for you.
Don't worry about yourself, pal.
Oh, I want 4.
I do want other kids.
I want 4.
Now you're going to 4? I thought you were at 5.
If I have 5, I'll name the 5th Scott.
All right. Deal.
Any other thoughts? Anything else you want to talk about? Episode 9. 9 episodes is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Episode 9. I mean, the only thing that I don't want to get into right now because it's a lot, but like I want to do an entire podcast just about like the stages of flipping houses. Like I feel like that's such like it's easy thing to like brush over. Like, oh, first you do this, then you do that, then you do this, then you do that. But it's like
it's a lot
from picking out the tile to picking out the vanities to picking out the fixtures, and it's like, and then on top of all the stuff you don't see that are behind the walls, like for someone who's new, who's just getting started, it'd be probably a really good thing for them to be able to like create like a checklist based off of our, you know what, that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a checklist. We're going to give it away, but we're going to make a podcast and talk about every step along the way. I feel like
I like that. Cool. I like that. And to give everyone a perspective, we're managing, I don't know, like 8 active flips, and then we have like 2 that are just basically keeping the doors locked and the grass cut until we can get to them. The most intensive projects are the ones where you do all this demo up front, and then you got to put it all back together, and you got to put it back together the right way, and it has to all flow and mesh. Whereas we have a couple projects coming up, knock on wood, this summer, once we get through our current wave, that we're not going to have to take walls out, and we're just going to be able to keep it all closed up. I am so excited for those projects. Now, I'm sure I'll learn the hard way that we should have opened up the walls and all that such. But in the meantime, I'm so excited for those projects.
Yeah, I agree. The worst ones are the ones that you don't expect to have to open everything up. Like that one that I just left today, I feel like that was like a big, like, God damn, you just don't expect it when you first walk through it, unfortunately. But I swear, dude, like it. I knew a guy who flipped houses, and he was a GC, and he only gutted everything to the studs. Everything. Didn't matter. Like, he didn't buy a project that didn't need to be, because once you put it back, you know everything is going to be perfect. You know, like, because in New Orleans, you know, you have that there too. The houses are so old that, like, even if you keep a lot of the stuff and you renovate it, it's very hard to make it look new. You know, like, you have to kind of remove it, you know, and come back with something that still looks old, but it's new, like, to give it that feel. And, you know, I never really understood his model, but he was pretty successful. He did a lot of projects, but, you know, I think that works on the higher end stuff more so than the more affordable options.
I'd be curious to know how much, quote unquote, easier it is or less time consuming if I was to have a soup to nuts contractor.
I think you're gonna. Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be less time consuming because all the subs along the way will be kind of all under one umbrella. So you know, someone's kind of coordinating all that. Definitely going to pay for it for sure. I don't think it solves the problem of the old homes that they're just unknowns. Like this, like when you get into something, like you're just like, oh, I didn't expect that to be a problem. Like I didn't have to worry about this, you know, like us trying to lay out and find a place for a master bathroom. Like it's frustrating because these houses are so old that, like, you're trying to, you know, sometimes fit a square peg in a round hole. But it does make a lot of sense why, you know, all the big time guys, they end up building homes because it's infinitely more scalable. You know, like you can kind of just know exactly what your numbers are going to be, right? Like you obviously can miss, but missing on new construction, I think, is a lot harder than missing on a flip, personally.
For sure, because if someone misses, it's probably at the fault of one of the trades because everything's new. You know, as long as they follow the plans.
Yeah, or you just you either put a bad product together, which I've seen, new construction, they still sell, or you just overshot your resale value. Like you did it in a bad area, or you didn't base it off of comps. You just thought like you can create the comps. You know, which a lot of investors that I have sold properties to in the past, they a lot of them go off like feel, you know, like they're like, yeah, there's, you know, like it's more that than like the hard driving number guys. And the hard driving number guys are, you know, they're out there, but kind of less likely, honestly, or few or far between. I don't know.
Well, I appreciate everybody listening. Continue to follow along on all platforms, Scott and Sam. We're going to keep being ourselves, keep being transparent. Hopefully help as many people as we can. you'll help us out by joining our school community. Episode 9.
And next week we will be building our first house.